are going on to 1.1D, which is the notes you picked up today, creating and analyzing residual plots with a calculator, okay? But we're not going to just do it with the calculator. We're going to do it with Desmos instead. Okay, so on the front page, you have some blanks to fill in. This is a residual plot. It shows that what you're actually calculating, your actual minus your expected. You are plotting the difference values. So what was that difference? What was the amount? And it's just literally a plotting of those values, okay? Where do they fall? Is what you're looking at. How far was it off? Where was it at? Now, your 3 blanks. If majority of the points are close to the x-axis, this means the regression model is a good model. It's not perfect, but it is good. If majority of your points are either above or below, that means that it's not a good model. We're creating too much of a curve, right? But if it's all clustered and we're kind of all roughly around it, then it's a good model, not a perfect model. A perfect model is if all points are on the x-axis and the regression model is perfect, okay? Only if all points are on the x-axis is it a perfect model. Okay? Okay. So, on your thing, you have the notes to do it in the handheld, but we're not going to do it in the handheld, just for the sake of time, and the fact that Desmos is easier. I'm going to go straight to Desmos. But if you are a person who likes having the calculator physically in your hand, here are the steps that you can walk through, follow through to get it physically in your hand. Okay. However, we're going to go to Desmos. So when you open your notes, you should have the steps for Desmos on the left side and our example problem on the right side. Is that correct? Or other way around? I know my left and my right. Let's try that again. Your Desmos steps are on your right and your examples on your left. Yes. Okay. We're going to follow these 7 steps to complete it. So what are we doing? Here's our data set. And we're going to create a scatter plot and analyze what's happening. We're going to find the regression model of it. Then we're going to graph and describe the residual plot. What is happening with our residual plot? What does it look like? Is it working? Is it good? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to go to my handy dandy Desmos. I'm going to click on Desmos. And we're going to follow those steps. Okay, step 1 tells us to do what? Click what? Click the plus button. So I'm going to click the plus button to add a table. Step 2 and 3 says I'm going to type in my X and Y values into their appropriate columns. The beauty about Desmos is that when it sees a pattern in your X's, you can just click enter and it will autofill. And in my Y1s, I have 2 and 3/10, 2 and 7/10, 3 and 1/10, 3 and 5/10, 3 and 9/10, 4 and 3/10, 4 and 7/10, 5 and 1/10, 5 and 1/2, and 5 and 9/10. How do we feel about steps 1, 2, and 3? Doable? Filling it? All right. And step 4 says to adjust your window. So all I did for this window, luckily, all I did was drag it, right? I didn't have to do too much to adjust my window. Step 5 is where we're going to find our least squares regression line, which is our linear regression, which we did last week in 1.1C, right? So we're going to type out y1 squiggle line mx1 plus b. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and fill in what we've done so far. Where did my PowerPoint go? It just closed out? Okay, cool. I didn't want you to stay open anyway. It closed out and just deleted my stuff. How rude. Okay. Well, we're here. Yes.
What were the words for the residual plot?
Give me, well, we'll have to, I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sorry. I said, well, I'll come back to you. Yeah. All right, so we can fill in so far. We created our scatter plot. Let's describe our scatter plot. It looks like our points are doing what? Points are increasing. Okay. In a linear motion, right? Looks like it. Okay. A linear regression model. We found a regression model. So what do we get for y equals? What's the slope that it says? 0.4. And what is our y-intercept? 1.9. Okay. So we did those two parts. Now we're going to find our residual plot. I'm going to go back here. And this is going to be the hardest part. To find your residual plot, you see where it says residuals? You see where it says plot? You click it. Ta-da! There's a residual plot. What do we notice about our residual plot? They're all on the x-axis, and because they're all on the x-axis, what does that mean? Perfect model. All points on x-axis. So, perfect model. Okay, the other way to look at that is to talk about finding your sum. So you're going to go down to box 3, and to find the sum of the residuals, we're going to type out the word total, parentheses, and you have to do the double parentheses, E1, parenthesis, and we're going to square. To square, you're pressing Shift 6. And by golly, what is our total of our squares? 0. So you see how our residual plot is on the x-axis, our total of our squares is 0. So this is an absolutely perfect model. Yes. It's a perfect model. All right. Okay, I want you to practice those same steps and analyzing on here at your table. So talk to your peers, work together. You're going to do this set of data, and you're going to go through exactly what we just did. Okay, following the steps.